I'm Nick Bjork, and I'm lieutenant here on A shift at Firehouse 31. Welcome to Station Saturday. Alright, come on inside the firehouse. So this front entry is an area where we welcome the community. There's also a front bathroom, a couple water fountains, and some memorabilia and stuff hanging on the wall that shows the groundbreaking ceremony and one of our important citizens in the district that spends a lot of time out front on our bench by our flagpole. David's been a part of the district for many years. He sits out front, usually with his bike on the bench, and he waves to everybody at the stop sign. Usually you'll hear people honking and waving and enjoying David's presence here in the community. So he's part of Firehouse 31's family. As we enter the firehouse, we have one stairwell that leads upstairs to the bedrooms. At the other end of the hallway, we have another stairwell, and there's a center stairwell. But right inside here is our workout facility. We're fortunate to have such a nice one. It's large. We have state-of-the-art equipment here, many different options for cardio equipment, all the latest, greatest high-intensity training equipment, medicine balls, kettlebells. We have a full Olympic rack and some free weights, and our cable system, which is actually it's a compressor, or there's an air compressor that runs it, and so that's kind of how you get the resistance rather than actual weights, so it takes up some less space. As firefighters, we always joke the most important thing we want to be able to do is have a large workout area to stay healthy and fit, and then a large kitchen for family time to cook and spend time together. As we leave the workout facility, we come down the hallway to our day room. We have some different recliners. We have a nice TV. It also is hooked up to our internet, so we can actually use the TV as a monitor for computer-based training. And in today's COVID world, we also are able to do Zoom meetings and able to keep up with our training and communication throughout the district to stay on top of what we need to do. This is usually a time spent after dinner. We usually try to do some family time and watch a little TV together and just kind of have that bonding, whether it's a TV show or a movie or just some sports or something is kind of what we do in this area. During the daytime, it's not necessarily utilized unless we're training. We also have some incredible work done by other firefighters. We have lots of talented people in the organization. But this was done by members of old retired or a hose that was basically deemed out of service because of wear and tear, like a hole in it or something like that. So was able to be repurposed and turned into a couple, obviously, flags, one being a dive flag, one being the United States America flag. And it's really done well with, it's kind of, framed in the box, and it's got some backlighting, and it's done really nicely. We come into the kitchen, and we have our Firehouse kitchen table. Has our specifically Dive 31 logo on it, and the C Shift crew did a great job repurposing this table and putting it together. They put the logo and the epoxy and kind of the different coins in the corners, kind of emulating the pirate ship, sunken treasure kind of look. But we spend most of our time around meal time and our morning meetings and just kind of coming up with the day's plan or communicating what's going on, the latest with maybe a policy update or SOG update. This is where the world's problems are solved. So we have, in the fire service, it's pretty awesome. you can bring a problem to this table, and with the brothers and sisters sitting around it, you can basically figure out any problem or address any house issue or anything going on at home or anything going on in your loved one's life, or just whatever. You got psychologists here, you've got carpenters, you've got electricians, you've got vehicle mechanics, you've got all walks of life that come to this table. And we're all firefighters, but we all have a unique background, and it's a special time here at the Firehouse kitchen table. We always have some sort of a coffee usually on. It's a staple, I think, in the fire service is the black coffee. I know I enjoy mine. But our kitchen really is a beautiful kitchen here, and it's nice and big for us to cook and spend time together. All the things that I personally like to cook with, so we got a gas range and cast iron pots and pans, and our medic unit is so kind to bring us some snacks after hospital transport. There'll be a couple of snacks in the employee lounge that we're allotted to, and we don't encourage a lot of units going to the hospital in this time, so usually the medic units are the only ones that go there, and it shows that they care about us. They bring us some snacks, and we enjoy them throughout the meals that we get during the day. Let's see here. Just like pretty much any firehouse, we've got 3 fridges. We have 3 shifts on duty 24/7 throughout the year, and so that's what these are for. And then we have 1 fridge that basically has our employee fund items. So that's condiments, your ketchups, your mustards, your salad dressings, all that stuff that we share. As we step out onto the back patio, it's a nice area, especially during this time of year, to actually do a dinner. And then we have this little bit of history, which is so awesome. That's part of our firehouse. And this essentially goes into when, at this specific location, Firehouse 31 was first opened in 1983. And when this was torn down and rebuilt, that rebuilding, the groundbreaking happened in 2015. And then the firehouse actually opened in 2016 for operation. We look out here to the corner. We have this just normal 4-way intersection, so it's a 4-way stop sign. But the bench is seen beyond the flagpole, and that's where David will spend his time sitting there and waving to our citizens as they go by. Or when we're returning to the firehouse from a call, we make sure we give them a honk and a wave. We do obviously our barbecuing, and we have a smoker, and so a lot of food prep stuff happens out here, but we also are able to sit and eat meals out here when the weather allows us to. It's a very nice setting. All right, so we're gonna walk back into the hallway that we first started in. Stairs again. We have basically 2 office setups. So the company officer has an office here set up designated to him or her. It's just able to kind of isolate yourself in case there's a private meeting that needs to happen, or a phone call with the chief or anything like that. So it's kind of isolated as a single.
Engine. Fire alarm.
Oh, we got a call.
Fire alarm.
Yeah, the DC's open.
Boulevard. Commercial fire alarm.
You guys hear Ops 3. Scene of a 6-story commercial office building. We have Tower 32 that's investigating the alarm right now. And as the engine, we have set up, we got a good water supply with the hydrant, and we're near the FDC, which is the fire department connection to the building, and that'll supply the sprinkler standpipe if there's a small fire or something going on in the building. It'll help support the system. It also provides water to hose connections in the stairwells if we had to stretch hose and put a line in operation. So this is a lot of what our fire alarms are. We don't get a lot of information, so we come on scene, and reconnaissance is essentially the name of the game. So that's what Tower 32 is doing, and we're standing by to hear what they find.
Bravo. Should have stroke, no harm.
So it sounds like the alarm was water flow.
Yeah, that's correct.
We'll get those with obviously a fire that would cause a sprinkler head to activate and flow water. That's going to be a water flow alarm. A couple other reasons we'll get them. No repairs or maintenance needs to be done to the system. There wasn't a fire, and there's nothing wrong with the system. So we're back in service. All right, we're back. We pretty much covered what the officer office is used for. It obviously has a computer in there for training or typing up reports and all that stuff. This is an area for our firefighter, EMT, and paramedics. Sorry, some rooms have light switches and some rooms have sensors. So anyways, we have 4 different computers for all of our attending paramedics after a patient encounter, whether it's a transport or a refusal of a transport to the hospital. We document that through a patient care report, and so all that's done here on the computer. Our EMTs and our paramedics obviously check their own emails and participate in the we use Target Solutions for kind of our training hours record keeping. So assignments will get put on there, and every once in a while things have to be done individually, but when we can do it as a group, I like to do that out in the day room where I showed you, where the big TV, we can log on and we can put it on that big screen and we can do it together. And that way, if there's questions or conversation that we can have during the training, it's beneficial as a crew, rather than kind of people operating in a silo and just going through it on their own. I find it to be a better training when we do it as a group. All right, we're going to come out this way. This is the beginning of entering kind of out towards the bay area. Off to our left here, we have just kind of a utility area where we wash our truck and cleaning towels. We have a bunker gear extractor, so we're able to wash our gear here. We also have just kind of a commercial stainless steel sink area. Again, being a dive house, we have a lot of cleanup afterwards with our dive trainings or dive call-outs, and we'll clean all of our masks and the parts and pieces of that in here. We also have, we talked about that employee fund fridge and some of the shares of how we utilize that. This is kind of the restocking of that, so it's kind of like your pantry, if you will, or maybe in your basement if you were to stock some extra stuff from a trip to Costco or whatever else, just the overflow stuff. But when we run out of peanut butter, we come out here to get it. It just frees up some of the space that's in the kitchen. And every firehouse has this. It's just a matter of being creative of where they put it. Okay, we'll come out here. This is a little bit of a funny thing about this firehouse. We all feel like this is the front of the firehouse because it faces the main street. It's where the public passes by. But when the doorbell goes off, it calls this the back of the firehouse. So the door we walked in is technically considered the front door per the layout, but this feels a lot more like the front door. We'll typically get most of our civilians who come to knock on the door to either say thank you for our service, or they will kind of initiate a tour with their children. Maybe they have a question on how to get rid of an old can of paint or a fire extinguisher or whatever the case may be. This tends to be the main door that the public comes to. Bathroom, I said we should all have a good sized weight room and a kitchen, and I would say the third thing really is a restroom that's attached to the bay. That allows for us to sometimes utilize it without fully getting undressed before or after a call, kind of a thing. We have a big map on the wall. Every firehouse in our district has one of these, and it's nice to look at to kind of see just different roads or talk about after a call or whatever. It's just kind of a good visual, but it's certainly nice when you have kids that come through on a normal station tour. We can kind of have some fun with it and see if they know where they're at in our district and kind of talk about maybe where they live or just kind of point out where the different firehouses are. During these times, we have a couple different protocols in place, one being is temperature check. So we come into the firehouse and everyone checks the temperature. We have a log sheet and we make sure that nobody's symptomatic. So these masks, this is considered a half mask. This one we have also that has the eye shield. So if you choose to wear this one, we have the expectation that you wear safety glasses. This one, for some people, the way it fits, it just will fog up and it makes visibility a little difficult. Either one are acceptable. The big thing for this is just the respiratory protection for the coronavirus currently to help keep our members safe. We share them between shifts, so we kind of have a cleaning station here. The masks get disassembled a certain way, the filters get set aside. They sit in the bucket with the cleaning solution for 10 minutes. And then we dunk rinse them, and then we really rinse them really well over in that sink I showed you. What we now have is these Dickey coveralls, and so we have a plethora of them. They're hung up here in the bay, so you come in, you get your temperature checked, you grab your gear off the rack, and then in addition, in these times, is we're grabbing a coverall and one of these masks. And so they're different sizes, and you pick the appropriate size. And then we wear these on all of our medical calls, along with the eye protection and the mask. And so we look a little different, we sound a little different, but we're still there to do the same job. And what's nice about this situation is if we run a patient of concern or gets contaminated for any reason, then we can take them off and we can get them washed, and we have another one on the rack that they can get into really quickly to stay in service to be able to respond. So, and this is our EMS closet for that. Okay, we have again 3 shifts that operate here 24/7 during the year. When we're not on shift, our bunker gear and additional PPE items get stored here in the bunker gear closet. Another part of this house, again being a dive house, is some of the additional equipment related to the water stuff. So we have things that we actually supply for the department, like our ice rescue suits. All engine and trucks have at least one of those, and that obviously season comes in the winter. And so there is water rescue stuff, surface rescue stuff that we supply to the department as a dive house, but otherwise this is all specifically for dive rescue stuff. So for the most part, we try to keep it as clean and organized as possible. We have certain technicians on the dive team that will repair masks and suits and stuff, and so just kind of throughout here there's just a various of equipment and additional items to make those repairs and replacements. Some spare masks when one is found to be out of service, that we can basically switch it out and get the BCD on the boat or the dive rig back in service. So this When this was built, the old Firehouse 31 was a 2-bay firehouse, non-drive-through. So a huge upgrade for us is the drive-through aspect. So we upgraded also to a 3-bay, and it allows for a little bit more room. We have obviously our medic unit, our engine, and our dive. Dive 31 that's attached to the boat. And when the boat's out on the water, we refer to that as boat 31. The medic unit in our world is an ambulance staffed with firefighters who are paramedics or EMTs. Here, typically it's 2 paramedics, and we have to have a minimum staffing of 3 divers. So between the engine and the medic, we want 3 divers. The engine will be staffed at minimum to 3, but we do get 4 at times. So it's not hard staffed, we cross staff it. So like I said, between the medic unit and the engine, having at least 3 divers. When a dive response comes in, we will move over to the dive unit and respond. South Metro's done a full fleet Friday with this piece of apparatus, and so you can just click the link above my left hand here, and you can see the full details of Dive 31. So this area on the other side of the bay here, another room here, and this is used for, we have spare SCBA bottles for our air packs on the engine and medic unit. We also have a couple spare scuba tanks from the dive unit. And then what this room mostly gets used for is at shift change, we make sure all the divers that are on duty, not only here, but maybe throughout the district, that their dive suit gets put on. And so they're all labeled with different names. We'll just look at the roster. We'll verify all the divers from today's, and so today it's A shift, but we can have someone on trade or overtime that's a diver. And so we just make sure their dive suit's on the rig in case we have a dive operation. They can show up and obviously be a part of it. If you haven't noticed, you haven't seen any bedrooms yet. So all of our bedrooms are upstairs. This is the middle stairwell I was telling you about. It's the most centrally located, and it's a straight run, so it's a good one to use to respond to calls, unless your bedroom's kind of on the end of the wings. You have 1 bedroom here, and when new firehouses are built, they're considered a commercial building, and so what you'll see is some building codes that require certain things. It sometimes seems odd for a firehouse to have an elevator. But we do, and again, that's kind of with the newer building codes and it being considered a commercial building, we do have an elevator. But the nice thing is, again, if we do have a station tour and there's anyone that's handicapped or something, they don't miss out on this part of the tour upstairs. We come up here, we have our second laundry room. If you remember, the first one was meant to clean our truck towels and cleaning towels. So towels that get dirty with oil or cleaning chemicals and stuff, we kind of keep in one area. And then up here is where we wash our station uniforms, our bath towels, and our kitchen towels. So we just kind of keep those 2 separated to minimize the cross-contamination. We also have just various restock of toilet paper and cleaning supplies. Nothing too fancy. We have 6 bedrooms along this wall. The 7th bedroom's over here. That's the officer bedroom. It has a bathroom attached to it. Otherwise, the bathrooms are shared between rooms here. We also have a bathroom on the other side of the hall here that, again, meets ADA requirements. And so you have kind of just a different style sink and shower pan and whatnot to meet some of those building codes. We want to take a peek. Our bedrooms are pretty basic. We have different lockers for the 3 shifts again. Kind of everything seems to be in 3, minus the bed. We have 2. But that essentially is laid out in a way that is able to kind of extend the life of the mattresses. Every once in a while, due to staffing needs or something, if 2 people have to share a sleeping area, it kind of affords that. Just different reasons. Just try not to waste space, essentially. We have what we call a first-in system. So every bedroom has one of these, and what's nice is you can go through here, and if you're on the engine, you want to make sure that the alarm or the alert system is enabled. But if you're not on the medic unit, you would disable that. And so what this system has done is kind of allowed just for less disruptive sleep stuff. So in old systems, every tone that would go off in a firehouse, you'd wake up to, you'd recognize, oh, that's me or that's not me. And if it wasn't you, you try to go back to bed. So the nice thing with this system is you kind of have that lack of interrupted sleep. Over time, you perfect your way of sliding the fire pole. A couple big ones to note: if you have wet hands, that's always a bad thing because it's going to cause friction. Your hands are going to heat up and you're going to want to let go of the pole. So dry hands are the best thing if at all possible. Sometimes in the winter you can get away with that with a long sleeve to kind of pinch the pole with your arm. But ultimately you're looking to try to wrap your legs around the pole to cause friction between your legs, your feet, your hands, not one thing. But I tell you what, you can get so good that you can go down a fire pole with a cup of coffee. Alright, let's go see how this is done. So we always have some sort of a fall protection, so the fire pole is just not like open where someone could, accidentally fall down the hole. So there's some sort of a door of some type to get you into the area. All right, so here we go. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed your time here at Firehouse 31. We really appreciate you coming by and seeing our second home. I get the privilege to pick the next Station Saturday. 19s.